It's 6 o'clock. You're waking up to a wet mess this morning. Here's a live look now outside Belle Meade. It's raining out there. I-35 in the distance looking pretty slick, and we're seeing some ponding on the local roadways. Watch out for that. And thanks for waking up with us today. I'm Joey Horta. We've got team coverage of the storm right now. Nakia Simon, Paige Yellenberger standing by live with the latest on power outages and how to stay safe on those roads. But let's begin with meteorologist Josh Johns. Hey.
Hey, good morning, Joey. We're still tracking the rain that's across central Texas. The good news is we're seeing those temperatures climb, now rising above freezing in Cameron. 33 there, 33 in Mexia, 35 in Bryan College Station. Across McLennan and Bell County, we have temperatures around 31 to 32. So a lot of this rain still falling and could be freezing on contact to elevated surfaces. But as far as we can tell, the surface roads are not seeing ice build up on them. Still, give yourself some extra time on that morning commute. May still find some icy spots, especially on those bridges and overpasses. A little bit of rain falling right now on the east side of Waco, west side drying out, but there is another band building in towards McGregor. Same at Bell County. You had a dry spot on the west side. Now we're seeing that band build in over at Killeen. That could be freezing to elevated surfaces. Same with this little band coming out of Salado that's going to roll into Temple here soon. Cross Falls, Milam County, you were hit so hard yesterday. Where you already have ice, you're going to see that rain continue to build a little bit of ice on it as long as temperatures stay below freezing. So that is why you're seeing more power outages this morning than you did yesterday. And now across parts of Brazos County, we are seeing light to moderate rain build in. But the good news with that is temperatures are at 34 to 35, so that is not freezing on contact. Good news there. Also some light to moderate rain building across Navarro and Freestone County. To the west, we're starting to see more freezing rain develop back towards Hamilton, Goldthwaite, San Saba. This is lighter and you are colder, so this will likely build more ice on those elevated surfaces and potentially even surface roads out there. That is why you remain under an ice storm warning. That rain band moving over mainly the same areas that got hit yesterday. Ice could still be an issue with this winter storm warning in effect through 9 o'clock. There's an ice storm warning in effect through 9 o'clock for our northwestern counties. Again, that is where the bigger impact should be, at least with this morning, if you haven't already seen ice. We'll see temperatures in the mid-30s going into the afternoon. 40 to 70% chance of rain there by 4 o'clock. Some wraparound moisture may keep some showers this afternoon, but after this, things will really dry out. May have some refreezing overnight, but then we really warm up. Wait until you see the 10-day coming up.
All right, we'll see you soon, Josh. Thousands of people waking up without power today after that ice building up this week. And 25 News reporter Nakia Simon has the latest on the situation. Good morning, Nakia.
Good morning, Joey. The power outages are on a local level and not a statewide level as ice builds up on power lines and tree branches, causing them to fall. But as of today, Bell, Robeson, Williamson, and Milam counties, to name a few, are experiencing power outages this morning, affecting thousands of people. One energy attorney says ERCOT has made some changes to winterize the grid, but there is still more work to be done.
ERCOT has improved some of its reliability performance measures. There's still vulnerabilities, and even separate and apart from the ERCOT generation going okay, we've got the problem of power lines coming down because of ice. Trees can interfere with power delivery as well. So you got two problems that are potential problems here. And if people are experiencing power outages, it could be one of those two things.
And energy companies like Heart of Texas Electric Cooperative shares they are working to restore power throughout their service territory. Coming up on Good Morning Texas, we'll take you county by county, as you can see, to share a few updates on how many outages we are seeing across our area this morning. Back to you, Joey.
Okay, Nakia, thanks. 6:04 now. Many of the biggest schools in our area are closed today, the biggest districts, that is. And Waco, Temple, Midway, Belton, all on a 2-hour delay. Coppers Cove ISD students will be starting at 10:45, junior high at 11, high schools 11:10. Killeen ISD is closed today, along with many of those rural districts. A&M Central Texas is closed for the rest of the week. Fort Hood slowly opening back up. The Burning Bank and Mayborn gates are back open. Mission essential personnel report to their normal time today. Non-essential personnel report at noon. Child care opens up at 11. The medical center will be opening at 12 p.m. Commissaries and the main exchange are opening up at 1. For the latest closures, just keep an eye on the bottom of your TV screen this morning. We've got those rotating, and you can also find the full list on our website. That's kxxv.com. Many drivers are ending up stranded out there. We've got tips from the experts on how to avoid the most common roadside emergencies until this storm blows over. Time is 6:08. We're still watching these icicles build out there. And what I noticed last night was that the trees were all frozen up, you know. We really started to notice that, it seemed like, for the first time.
Yeah, the elevated surfaces are where we're going to have that ice continue to build today. And this is what it looks like when
Yeah.
it builds on a tree.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. It gives that white little glassy look to it.
Yeah.
The
Although
colors.
the issue is going to be that you could see some falling branches and falling trees themselves, right?
Yeah, especially when you get above a 1/4 inch of ice that builds in on there. That's what we saw happen in Falls and Milam County yesterday and down towards the Austin area. That adds about 500 pounds
Wow.
to a tree and helps it to fall over. And that's why we see those issues this morning. And that's what we'll have to watch out for as we go through the morning. Not because temperatures at the surface are a little too close to freezing for that.
Okay.
But on those elevated surfaces, things are a little colder, and that's why we're going to have to monitor that here as we go through the morning, seeing if that continues. You can see where those temperatures are now. Remember, we've been around 25, 26 a good part of this week. Now we're in the lower 30s, and in some cases, we're starting to rise above freezing. Cameron just popped up to 33. It's 34 now in Hearn, 31, Waco, 32, Killeen and Temple. Some light rain still falling across McLennan County. McGregor seeing a little bit of light freezing rain this morning. That's going to travel up towards Lake Waco and the west side of Waco. Also some light to moderate rain falling in Temple right now. You're going to hear this in Temple. Again, a lot of this is falling a little too hard to build up ice on the surface, but those elevated surfaces are where we're going to have those issues. That ice could add up, especially if it lightens up a bit. That could add up on the power lines, especially if you had ice yesterday, and that's why we're seeing the biggest power outages this morning in Milam and in Falls County. Also some light to moderate rain falling in Bryan College Station down towards Limestone County. A pretty good band moving through Groesbeck, about to hit Mahia, and also in Freestone County. Now out to the west, you've been colder, you've had lighter precipitation. This is likely accumulated as ice a little bit easier as you're getting more bands built in there from Goldthwaite towards Hamilton. We have that winter storm warning continuing here as we go through the morning. This likely falls after 9 a.m. Same with the ice storm warning, though impacts could still be out there with any icy spots that build in. Here's why we haven't seen a lot of ice here locally in the metro area. It all comes down to what's called our temperature profile. We know about temperatures at the surface, but when you go up further in the atmosphere, what does that do? When temperatures are above freezing, it's all liquid. But when you go below freezing, it's frozen precipitation because that water freezes. Now, we're stuck in the middle. That's why we're seeing that freezing rain potential. The question is, this little layer that's below freezing, how thick is that? And right now, it looks like that layer may be really thin, and as we go through the day, it'll eventually go to all rain. So that is good news there. That's why we also haven't seen as many issues, because we've had a very, very thin layer of cold air near Waco. Some other spots where that rain has been able to fall a little lighter maybe had a warmer layer of air, or a thicker layer of cold air closer to the surface. Now, you still have to watch out for icy roads, especially on those elevated surfaces. You encounter black ice, keep that steering wheel straight, don't brake. Take your foot off the accelerator, slow down. No sudden movements. That's the main rule of thumb here. And the better rule of thumb is just stay off the roadways here as we go through the morning. 33 at 10 o'clock, 35 at noon. We'll warm above freezing this afternoon. It won't melt all the ice, but it will start to melt it. And that's what we'll have to watch for falling icicles too. Those pretty icicles that are on your roof, you get that ice starting to melt, they can kind of dislodge and fall. So be very careful walking under any overhang today. We'll get that rain moving out of here as we get into the afternoon, but we may still have a couple of showers lingering around, especially with some wraparound moisture later on tonight. Some of that may even mix in some snow and sleet, but that won't cause any issues because, again, temperatures will be above freezing. Now, overnight, any sort of icy patches that can remain will refreeze as we go into the morning because temperatures will fall back down to 29 to 30. So the morning commute could still be slick. Then we really warm up back towards 50 tomorrow afternoon. We'll continue this warming trend on into the weekend, too, as we continue to thaw out. 60 by Saturday, 70 Sunday, rest of that 10-day taking us into the 60s and 70s next week with more rain chances. But right now, looks like it's all rain. That's great news.
Yeah, sounds good, Josh. And you know, the power crews are working to restore power to thousands of people this morning because of this weather. 25 News reporter Nakia Simon is keeping tabs on the latest numbers out there. It's pretty widespread, Nakia.
Yes, very widespread, and not only people are losing power, but our local law enforcement as well. As you can see, Temple Police Department lost power early this morning, but everything has been restored as of 3:10. We're going to head over to what Joey is saying, a wide range of power outages happening in Central Texas. We're going to head to Robinson County, which over 16,000 customers are being impacted there. We're also going to head over to the Encore outage map, where we're going to head over to McLennan County with over 2,000 customers are being impacted. Bell, 14,000 customers. We also have Williamson with over 30,000 customers. This map was updated as of 6:03 a.m. and before it was 29,000 customers, and it went up 1,000 as we head towards more into the morning. Milam County with 6,000 customers being affected, a number that also increased, as well as Falls County with over 3,800 customers are being impacted. So as we head more into the morning, we'll keep you updated on the power outages we're seeing across Central Texas. And of course, again, Joey, the energy companies are working to get the power back on for customers across our area.
Okay, got it. Thanks, Zakia. And many people staying home, but AAA Texas says they're still answering a lot of calls from people that are getting stranded. KRHD news anchor Paige Ellenberger live from Bryan with what you need to know if you do get into trouble, so you don't have to call for help. Good morning, Paige. All right, we're having some difficulties there hearing her. We're going to try to get back to her later on this morning. We apologize for the inconvenience. In the meantime, Texas A&M Forest Service crews are doing what they can to make the roads safer out there. This morning, they're telling us that since Monday, they've patrolled around 400 miles of roadways. They're spreading brine, cleaning up fallen trees, and helping stranded drivers.
If there are people still in the vehicle, they will see how they can assist them. So if it's a car starting issue, a gas issue, they can assist with that. They can keep people warm, transport them to a destination.
Now, if you can't avoid driving, be careful. Look out for first responders doing their thing and give them some extra space. Still ahead here, the Fed making another announcement that will impact your wallet. How much higher interest rates are soaring and what it'll mean for borrowers. It's 6:15. You're waking up with Good Morning Texas. 6:18. We were just talking about how AAA Texas is responding to so many calls from people being stranded on the side of the road. And Paige Ellenberger live from Bryan with what you should do if you get into that situation. Paige, good morning.
Hey, Joey. Yeah, good morning. If you do find yourself driving on these less than ideal conditions out there on the roadways, there are a few things you can do to make sure you avoid some major problems. Okay, first and foremost, your vehicle. You want to check your tire pressure before you head out to go anywhere. The cold weather can really impact how much air is in your tires. Also, the gas. You want to make sure that you have a full tank of gas, if not at least a sufficient amount, because if you do find yourself in an unfortunate situation, it would be less than ideal to have little to no gas.
Response times are delayed right now just because the roadways are bad. So, make sure that you're prepared for a possible emergency, even if you've done everything right to make sure your vehicle is in good shape.
Yeah, so how can you be prepared for that possible emergency? So Daniel Armbruster there with AAA walked me through creating an emergency kit that you can put in your car. Here are a few things he told me that you should always have, especially in the cold weather. So first and foremost, a first aid kit. You always want to make sure you have one of these in your car, just in case. Secondly, an extra pair of clothes, another blanket too. That way you can stay warm if you do end up being on the side of the road. Armbruster says that the response times are delayed here just because of the road conditions. So having something to warm you up would be really, really beneficial. Next, a phone charger. You want to make sure that your phone has enough battery. If not, you want to make sure that you'll be able to charge it if you do find yourself on the side of the road. So that way AAA or any loved ones will know where you are. Finally, some water and some snacks. If you do find yourself stranded, you want to make sure that you have enough to kind of get you through however you're waiting. Now, these are just a few things. AAA does have a full list on their website that you can find at AAA.com. Joey.
That cup looks huge, Paige. Does it fit in your cup holder? All right, I need a refill. The Fed's announcement to raise interest rates by another 0.25% will impact just about everyone. People with credit cards can expect interest rates to go up since most of them have a variable rate. People can expect to see those changes in the next 2 billing cycles. Interest rates on big purchases like houses and new cars will also go up.
The inflation data received over the past 3 months show a welcome reduction in the monthly pace of increases. And while recent developments are encouraging, we will need substantially more evidence to be confident that inflation is on a sustained downward path.
All right, well, fixed mortgage rates won't be hit quite as hard, but people with home equity lines of credit will see a difference. So if you're about to borrow money for college, for example, you can expect to see a higher interest rate.
And I'm tracking showers across Central Texas. A full look at your forecast next.
Hey, happy Groundhog Day, folks. We're waiting to see right now what's going to happen over there in Puxatawny, Pennsylvania. Let's take a live look at what's going on. The groundhog has come out. He's been hibernating, I guess, for a while, building up his reserves there. He looks a little fluffy, doesn't he? And the key here is, will he see the shadow? And that would mean, what is it, 6 more weeks of winter?
Something
Right?
like that.
I think that's
Does it
it.
look great to you, Phil?
And they're still trying to figure it out. They're doing all the hobnob stuff over there.
Well, thank you
that they
very
do.
much.
And we're waiting to see.
That concludes
will he see
our
the shadow? It
ceremony.
takes time, so we're not going to have be
If
able to
you
sit
would
through this
like,
whole thing
you can
here,
come
but
up
we're going to
on the,
update you
left
on
side
whether
of the
he sees
stage
his shadow. A lot of people
and get
hoping
you- come
for
across
spring to
and
get
your
here.
picture taken with Punksy Phil. We'll do that for
We don't
as
know
long
just
as we
yet.
can.
I believe we've been told he saw his shadow.
Did it? Is that what we're hearing?
That's what I'm hearing in my ear.
Chad, can you confirm that? Yes, the answer is yes. So 6 more weeks of winter.
I also want to say,
Last thing we want to hear here.
I know.
But this is Texas. So Mother Nature, I've seen it overrule the groundhog many times.
Uh-huh.
Hopefully this is one of those years where that happens.
To be clear, he's usually wrong.
Yeah.
So we've got that going for us.
I mean, it's hard not to get the Texas weather wrong sometimes, but, it feels like 6 more weeks of winter out there right now, but hopefully that ends up not being the case. You know what I can tell you?
Yeah.
Regardless of if it's winter or summer, you know what you can always use? A mug.
Let's give one away.
Let's do it. Today's winner, Juanita Wright. Congrats, Juanita. We'll let you know you can pick up one of these Good Morning Texas mugs. Put some hot beverage in it this morning. You'll need it.
Keep them coming, too. All right, let's get a look at what's happening out there. You can always go to our website, of course, to win a mug. Sign up for that. But let's get to the weather at 6:26 here this morning. And there's still some wet weather out there.
There is still some wet weather. There's still some ice, and we need to be careful for getting on the roads. If you don't have to be on the roads, just don't be on them. That's the best plan. But if you do have to be on them, please take it slow. Even if the roads are not icy where you're at, the roads are very slick from the rain we've had here overnight. You can still see the band of showers is working through. Temperatures in the low to mid 30s out there currently, even above freezing now. 35 in College Station, 34 Hearn, 33 Cameron and Mexia. Still looking at temperatures near freezing in Waco, Temple, and Killeen as this freezing precipitation or this rain continues to fall. Some of it freezing to elevated surfaces. So power lines, signs, bridges, they're going to be the spots that get ice this morning. I think your surface roads are going to be okay because we haven't really had that ice build up yet, and it's hard to get it to build up so quickly when temperatures are only at 32 versus, say, 26 to 29 like we were here the last few days. Same with Bell County right now. A little band moving through Temple. Some light freezing drizzle moving through Killeen at this time. Also some light to moderate rain over Falls, Milam County. That's going to add up on those already iced over power lines, which is why you're seeing those outages this morning in parts of Falls and Milam County. Again, Nikhil, I'll have an update on that here in just a few minutes. We get into the Brazos Valley, Brazos County. You're seeing some light to moderate rain currently. Also some light to moderate rain moving through, or some moderate to heavy rain rather, moving through Freestone County, about to roll into Fairfield. We're seeing more freezing rain start to develop out to the west. This is where temperatures are further below freezing, so it is possible we see more ice out there over those western counties. That's why you still have the ice storm warning. The rest of us under that winter storm warning that officially goes through around 9 o'clock today. It is expected to be dropped after that. Same with the ice storm warning for Bosque, Hamilton, and Mills County. So we'll be monitoring stuff out there. Meanwhile, expect temperatures to slowly rise today. We'll be at 31 by 8 o'clock, 33 by 10, and could be looking at mid-30s by lunchtime. That'll slowly start to melt the ice. So what you need to watch out for are falling icicles, falling chunks of ice off of trees. That can happen once you start to melt things. And while it won't melt all the ice, it will go a long way in improving things. We'll melt all the ice tomorrow when we climb well above freezing. Here we go through the day. We'll have these showers continuing to move from west to east across the area. Could see some wraparound moisture on the backside of this. If that happens, we may see a little bit of snowflakes, maybe some sleet pellets trying to mix in Jackson as well. Can't guarantee it. It's hard to tell the real temperature of the atmosphere above us, but it is possible with that little wraparound moisture. Then we get colder air filtering in as we get into the overnight hours. We'll refreeze, so any sort of icy spots that remain after this afternoon will refreeze by morning. And then we really start to melt it tomorrow. 50 degrees tomorrow, 60 on Saturday. We're looking at 70s Sunday and Monday, so about a 40-degree swing coming up here. Maybe some more rain chances next week, but right now it looks to all be liquid. Good news there.
Looks like the groundhog's getting it wrong the next few
so.
days.
I hope
right?
so. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. All right, we'll be right back with more right after this. Waking up to a wet and sometimes icy mess depending on where you're at, and so it's an issue for the roadways, obviously. Stay home if you can. That's what we're being told by law enforcement. And thank you for waking up with us. I'm Joey Horta. We've got team coverage of the storm. Nakia Simon and Paige Ellenberger are standing by with the latest on some power outages and how to stay safe on those roads. First, let's get to meteorologist Josh Johns with the latest on our weather.
Yeah, and we are continuing to track the showers that are working through central Texas. The good news is we're starting to see those temperatures climb this morning. We are above freezing now. Mexia, Cameron points to the east of there. So this is likely falling as all rain across parts of our eastern counties. Along 35 and to the west, though, temperatures still flirt with that freezing mark. So that means that we could be seeing a little bit of freezing rain falling here across the area. And that could add up to more issues on the bridges, elevated surfaces, and power lines. Those are going to be the issues today. Not so much the surface roads. It's hard to build the ice when it's not already there, but the bridges have already been iced over, so we're going to have to monitor that closely. Pretty good band moving through Lorena, Eddy, about to roll into Waco, also near McGregor. Bell County, you're seeing some light to moderate rain there from Temple down through Rogers. It's moving to the northeast. And then across Falls and Milam County, some moderate rain falling now. That is going to be falling on those already iced over power lines, which means you could add a little bit more ice on there. That's why we're seeing the biggest power outages there. Again, Nakia will have an update on that here shortly to let you know what's going on with the power situation here in central Texas. Light to moderate rain continues to move across Brazos County, and a pretty good batch of moderate to heavy rain moving into Fairfield at this time. More freezing rain developing off to the west. This will likely lead to more ice out there because you're colder and you already have a little bit of ice. So we'll be monitoring that for our western counties. Winter storm warning continues here for Waco, Temple, Killeen, and most of central Texas until 9 o'clock today. We've got an ice storm warning still in effect for Bosque, Hamilton, and Mills County also through 9 o'clock, but things should be lightening up there as we all start to climb closer towards those temperatures that are above freezing. We'll be at 31 by 8 o'clock, 33 at 10, and mid-30s build on in from lunchtime on. So we'll see improvement today, but as that happens, the icicles will melt. They'll start to fall. Some ice on the trees will fall, and so you'll need to monitor for that if you are walking outside. Don't walk under any overhangs if you don't have to, because that can be an issue. I do have warmer temperatures in the forecast. The weekend's looking pretty nice. We'll get to that 10-day coming up.
Okay, Josh, thousands of people waking up without power this morning after all this ice that's been building up this week. 25 News reporter Nakia Simon live now with the latest on those power outages. Nakia?
Good morning, Joey. That's correct. The power outages are on a local level, not a statewide level, as ice builds up on power lines and tree branches, causing them to fall. But as of today, Bell, Robeson, Williamson, and Milam counties, to name a few, are experiencing power outages this morning, affecting thousands of people. One energy attorney says ERCOT has made some changes to winterize the grid, but there is still more work to be done.
ERCOT has improved some of its reliability performance measures. There's still vulnerabilities, and even separate and apart from the ERCOT generation going okay, we've got the problem of power lines coming down because of ice. Trees can interfere with power delivery as well. So you got two problems that are potential problems here, and if people are experiencing power outages, it could be one of those two things.
Energy companies like Heart of Texas Electric Cooperative shares they are working to restore power throughout their service area territory. Coming up on Good Morning Texas, we'll take you county by county, as you see here, as we look at the updates on how many power outages we are seeing across our area this morning. Back to you, Joey.
All right, Nakia, thanks. See you in a bit. Many of the biggest school districts in our area are starting later today. Waco, Temple, Midway, and Belton all on a 2-hour delay. Coppers Cove ISD elementary schools are starting at 10:45, junior high at 11, and the high schools 11:10. Killeen ISD is closed today, along with many of the rural districts. A&M Central Texas is also closed for the rest of the week. For the latest on school closures and other closures, keep an eye on the bottom of your screen. We've got those running up there, and you can also find a full list on our website, kxxv.com. A Texas police officer fighting his way through a tornado to rescue his canine partner. Viral video captures the moment as he rushes into the storm to save his little buddy. But first, if you don't have to be somewhere this morning, just stay home. If you do, though, AAA's got some tips, and we're sharing those up next. Coming up on 640 now this morning, we want to show you some cool pictures of those icicles. They're going on all over the place. These are at my house, and some of these things, I need to get the measuring tape out later today, but I'm telling you, it's a good 12 inches right there, and it's all over the place. That one, as the rain gutter starts to drain, it just froze up, and it's been so fun to look at this and watch these things grow each day this week. You don't want to be hanging out underneath them, though. That could be bad.
Yeah, do you feel like a farmer now growing these?
I was a farmer once upon a time, but now, I put a post on Facebook saying fresh ice for sale. And
hey, there you
no
go.
takers, though, so far.
Look, with inflation, you got to do what you got to do.
You do.
Make some money. But yeah, you're right. You need to watch those as we go through the day, as we're starting to melt things.
Yeah.
They'll become dislodged and fall. Right. And I mean, they're sharp, so
they are.
You really don't want to be under one when they fall. So watch for that here as we go through the day, among other things you need to watch for, along with those icy spots on bridges and overpasses here as we are starting off your Thursday. 31 degrees now, Waco 32, Killeen and Temple. Temperatures have risen above freezing to the southeast, though, across the Brazos Valley, including Cameron, Hearn, Madisonville, Mexia now at 33. This is mainly light to moderate rain moving through. We have it as freezing rain where temperatures are below freezing, but a lot of that not really accumulating on the surface roads here just yet, at least locally in Waco, Temple, Killeen. Out to the west it may be, but the main issues we're seeing this morning are those elevated surfaces. So bridges, overpasses, power lines, signs, your roof. That's where you're going to see this freezing rain continuing to add to that layer of ice. That rain continuing to fall across McLennan County. This is mainly light to moderate rain that is falling right now. New little batch coming through McGregor. Also over Killeen, a pretty good batch of light to moderate freezing rain falling. Light to moderate rain across parts of eastern Bell County as well. Still getting some passing light to moderate rain across parts of Falls, Milam County. You were the hardest hit yesterday. As we get this rain falling, it may add on to some of those power lines that have already fallen. It may add a little bit more ice onto some of those, so we'll need to monitor for that. Same in Brazos County, although Brazos County, your temperatures are above freezing, so that rain that's moving through there is just good old-fashioned rain. It's a cold rain, though. You need to bundle up as you're walking out the door. Pretty good batch of moderate rain now falling over Fairfield and up into Navarre County, and then back off to the west. We are seeing more of this freezing rain develop from San Saba to Goldthwaite and Hamilton. Since you already had some ice building up there, that could contribute to more icy issues out to the west. That's why you're still under an ice storm warning. Winter storm warning continues through this morning for Waco, Temple, and Killeen and most of central Texas. An ice storm warning for Bosque, Hamilton, and Mills County. That's where impacts could be a little worse here as we go through the morning. Now, as we plan out your Thursday, the good news is we'll see temperatures warm. We'll be back to 33 by 10 o'clock. Those temperatures will start to melt that ice as we climb up closer to 35 later on as we head towards lunchtime. This batch of rain gets out of here. The batch that you saw over our western counties will pivot on through as well as we go through the morning, and then we'll get some drier air coming in here. On the back side of the system, we may still see a little bit of moisture. That's going to be later tonight, later this afternoon into tonight, and with that, there could be a little colder air in the atmosphere, so it may fall as a couple snowflakes, maybe some sleet pellets. The good news is temperatures will be above freezing, so that shouldn't be an issue. Now, overnight, any icy spots left will refreeze as we fall into the 20s and the 30s. So when you wake up in the morning, you may see some icy spots on that morning commute. But then as we go through the day, we're back into the 40s and 50s, and that will melt all the ice tomorrow on into Saturday. So we'll continue to see things improve from here on out. Biggest chance of seeing more ice today will be over some of our eastern counties here as we go through the morning. And for the next 7 days, this is that rain continuing over our eastern counties mainly. We'll see a pretty good dose of rain from all this. In fact, we'll likely see these totals around 1 to 2 inches here from this week. Good news for our drought. 34 degrees for your high today, 34, 35-ish. You've got a 70% chance of rain, 50 tomorrow, 60 on Saturday. We're in the 70s Sunday and Monday, and then look at the rest of that 10-day. Getting into the 70s next week as well. Some better rain chances, although at this time, looks like that's all liquid. The ice should be gone for at least the next 10 days.
All right, sounds good, Josh. Power crews, though, working to restore power now to thousands of people. 25 News reporter Nakia Simon is keeping track of that. What's the latest, Nakia?
That's correct, Joey. As you can see, this is our statewide map, and the deeper the red, the more customers are impacted, with Robertson tracking, the statewide map is tracking that 16,000 people in Robertson are currently impacted by power outages. I want to head over to our next map, which is the Encore map. And as you can see, we have McLennan County, specifically over 2,000 people are impacted. I want to head over to Falls with over 4,000 people are impacted there. We have Milam with over 6,000 people impacted. And then we have Williamson County with over 29,000 people impacted there. It did decrease. It was 30,000 for the first half. So now it's 29. So things are getting better as power companies are working to bring back the power for many customers in our area. Back to you, Joey.
A lot of people impacted. Nakia, thanks for that. Many drivers avoiding these icy roads. AAA, though, says that they're still answering a lot of calls from people who are getting stranded. KRHD news anchor Paige Ellenberger live in Bryan now with what to do if you do end up in that kind of situation. Paige, good morning.
Hey, Joey, good morning. Yeah, if you do have to venture out onto these less than ideal roads, there are a few things you can do to make sure you end up in no bad situation. So first and foremost, check your vehicle. Make sure that the tire pressure is good in all four tires. This cold weather can really impact just how much air is in each of those tires. Next, check your gas. Make sure you have enough gas to get you to where you need to be, and account for some extra time too if you do run into any troubles, because the last thing you want to happen is you end up on the side of the road with little to no gas.
Response times are delayed right now just because the roadways are bad. So, make sure that you're prepared for a possible emergency, even if you've done everything right to make sure your vehicle is in good shape.
So how can you prepare for one of those emergency problems if you do run into them? Daniel Armbruster there with AAA did walk me through a few things that you can have in your car, but for a full list of it, you can head to AAA.com. They have everything laid out there for you in black and white. Joey.
Great to hear. Thanks for that info, Paige. And up next here, a police officer in Texas proving to be his dog's best friend after fighting through a tornado to save his canine partner. This is viral video capturing that moment. The story behind it is next. A police officer and a canine near Houston, usually they are helping others, but during a recent tornado, they needed their own help. Marcelino Benito shows us the daring rescue.
They go work. This crime-fighting duo has been on the streets of Deer Park for nearly 6 years.
My best buddy. Yeah.
And boy, do they have stories to share.
He's put himself in harm's way for me before.
So 1 week ago, Officer Joel Nitchman got his chance to do the same for his narcotics canine, Roni.
I'll never forget the noise. That's when I knew this was a big tornado.
The pair had just got back to the police station from training. When the wind started picking up, Roni was in his kennel in the squad car.
The thought of debris or the car flipping over, I couldn't do that to him. Couldn't have him out there during that.
Surveillance cameras capture Officer Nitchman run outside, lightning flashing, barely able to see in front of him.
I knew it was something bad when there was things hitting my face. I don't know what. I knew it was debris of some kind.
It was about to get much worse.
Once I went around the car is when all heck broke loose.
The wind and rain so strong he couldn't get Roni out.
I could barely open his door. When I did, he's a smart dog. He saw what was going on outside and he's like, I'm not coming out.
Officer Nitchman knew he had seconds to get back indoors. At one point, visibility down to 0 around him.
And I'm like coaxing him, like, come on, buddy, let's go.
Seconds later, the pair seen rushing back around the squad car towards the safety of the station. The front door nearly blocked by a fence that had been tossed around in the wind.
Never been through anything like that before.
1 week since that close call, that video has gone viral, and Officer Nitchman has been celebrated for choosing to put himself in harm's way to save his canine partner. But he says he did what anyone would have done, and he'd do it again in a heartbeat.
I love that dog. He's my hip attachment. almost every day of the week. He's a part of our family. You can't leave a loved one like that. There was no way I was going to leave him like that. Oh, he's a good boy. He's a smart dog.
1 week later, the team back on the job after an experience
I'm grateful that he's okay.
that only brought them closer together.
Marcelino Benito reporting. The National Weather Service reports it was an F3 tornado. Glad they're okay. Road conditions slick and icy in some spots. We'll take a look at how you can stay safe and prepared in just a moment.
And I'm continuing to track rain and some freezing rain across central Texas. We'll walk you through that forecast when we come back.
So many drivers avoiding these icy and wet roads, but AAA Texas says they're still answering a lot of calls from people who are getting stranded. And KRHD news anchor Paige Ellenberger is live in Bryan with what you could do if you find yourself in that sort of situation. Paige, good morning.
Hey, Joey, good morning. Yeah, if you do end up having to go out on these less than ideal roadways, there are some things you can do to prepare yourself. That way, if you get into any type of difficult situation, first and foremost, you want to prepare your car. So make sure that you're checking your tires' air pressures. This cold weather can really impact just how much air is in each of those tires. Next, gas. Make sure you have a full tank of gas, if not a sufficient amount, just because if you do end up on the side of the road or wherever you may be, you'd hate to be left with little to no gas. Now, there are a few things you can do before you head out onto the roadways too that you can bring with you in case you do end up stranded or on the side of the road. So Daniel Armbruster, a spokesman with AAA Texas, walks me through a few things that you can bring with you just in case, again, you do end up on the side of the road. So first and foremost, you want to make sure you have an extra pair of clothes, a blanket, gloves, hat, scarf, anything that can keep you warm if you do end up on the side of the road. He mentioned the AAA response times are delayed, so you may find yourself out there for a little bit longer than anticipated. Next, water, food, snacks. If you do find yourself stranded, you'll want to have something to hold you over just until somebody's there to help you out. You should always have a first aid kit in your car too, especially during the cold weather. You never know what could happen, so just having one of these just in case of an emergency is always best. A phone charger, you don't want to be without charge in your phone, so that way AAA can be in constant communication with you, loved ones too, just so they know where you're at. All of these things plus more you can find on AAA's website. So if you go to AAA.com/auto repair, you'll find a full list printed there in black and white for you with everything that you may need if you do find yourself in an unfortunate situation. Joey.
All right. Paige, thanks for that. 6:54. You know, the groundhog's saying 6 more weeks of winter this morning, Josh, and it feels like it now.
Yeah, it definitely feels like it, but you know what? I hope he's wrong because we've had quite enough of winter here in central Texas. I think after this event, this move through, we're still seeing rain and some freezing rain on the radar right now, but notice temperatures starting to climb above freezing, east of 35. Good news there as those temperatures climb above freezing. That takes away that threat, especially on surface roads. Now, bridges, overpasses, power lines, we can still add some ice onto that this morning. That's why we're still dealing with power outages. Now, light to moderate rain and freezing rain continues along 35. Another batch building towards McGregor and McLennan County. Another pretty heavy batch just to the west of Salado. See the reds there? That's going to be a pretty good heavy batch that moves right over Belton. And across parts of Falls and Milam County, this is light to moderate rain falling. But again, you already had all the issues yesterday. Just adding on to that, the more rain you get is adding on to those power lines. That's why we're dealing with outages there. Same Burleson and Brazos County, but you're above freezing at this time. Great news there. This little batch of heavy rain now moving across the Trinity River outside of our viewing area. We are watching some light freezing rain and some moderate freezing rain at times out towards Hamilton, Goldthwaite. Temperatures there have been colder longer, so you will likely be dealing with more issues. That's why you're under an ice storm warning. Now, winter storm warning continues for the rest of central Texas through around 9 o'clock. Then it's likely going to be dropped. Same for some of our western counties, Bosque, Hamilton, and Mills County, dealing with that ice storm warning this morning. 31 here at 8 o'clock. Here's the good news. Look, we're going to be warming above freezing today. Now, that is going to help lessen the ice threat, but all the icicles we have, all the ice we have on trees, power lines, as it melts, it'll fall. So we need to be watching for falling ice today if you're outside. Be careful. Watch for some of that. Don't walk under any overhangs if you don't have to, because that's when we could be dealing with that. And of course, that ice can be kind of heavy. Now, we get into the morning this morning. We're going to continue to see this rain move off to the east. We'll get some drier times in the afternoon. Then I do expect some wraparound moisture late in the afternoon into the evening. Some of that may actually mix with some sleet, some snow. It's not going to cause issues because temperatures are above freezing, but you may see some of that. And then any icy spots will refreeze overnight with temperatures falling back below freezing. We finally melt it all as we get into Friday and especially Saturday. Look at Sunday and Monday, Joey. What groundhog?
Yeah.
What groundhog?
He
That's
needs to
not winter
retire.
temperatures.
This groundhog needs to get a life.
Yeah.
We're back at 11, folks. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.